Today we are going to take those same properties that we had when we had parallel lines cut by a transversal, and we are going to solve equations with those, which we touched on very briefly, but we're going to dig deeper into it. So let's recall alternate exterior angles. Examples could be these two. They are outside of my parallel lines and on either side of the transversal. Alternate interior, inside my parallel lines on either side of the transversal. Corresponding angles, one inside, one outside. Consecutive interior angles, both inside the parallel lines, both on the same side of the transversal. This is the only one that is supplementary. Everything else is congruent. So when we are finding the measure of each angle indicated, this means that we want to first of all figure out what property are we dealing with. So for number one, we are looking at angles that have one inside, one outside. So this means that I have corresponding angles. I know when I have corresponding angles that means that they are congruent. So A equals B. So X is equal to 117. For number two, notice we have this little box. This is a right angle, so that's 90 degrees. I have one inside, one outside, but they're at opposite sides of the transversal. So these are alternate exterior angles, and they are congruent, so X equals 90 degrees. For my next problem, I have both inside, and they're on the same side of the line. If they were on different sides, then they would be alternate, but since they're on the same side, they're consecutive interior. And this is the one where things are supplementary. So I have to set up an equation. X plus 109 equals 180. So then I can go ahead and subtract 109 on both sides. And I get X equals 71. And that is my angle measure. Be very careful when it comes to the consecutive interior problems. These are most often missed because people forget that not everything is congruent. The last one, I have alternate interior angles because they are both inside on opposite sides of that transversal. So A equals B, so X equals 55. Sometimes we will be asked to find our missing angle measure, but it's going to take a little bit more work than just setting things equal or doing a one-step equation. And that's the kind of problems we're looking at here. So we still want to discover what kind of angle relationship do we have, because that will tell us how to set up our equation. So these are alternate exterior angles, one on each side of the transversal, and they're both outside the parallel lines. And then I'm going to take them and I'm going to set them equal. So 97 equals X plus 105. And then I can go ahead and solve that equation. So I'm going to subtract 105 on both sides, and I will get -8 as my answer. Same type of thing is happening on number two, except these are corresponding because I have one inside and one outside. Corresponding angles are congruent. So I have 12x plus 12 equals 13x plus 3. And then I will go ahead and solve. So subtract 12x, subtract 3, and I get 9 equals x. For my next problem, I have consecutive interior angles, and I know this because they are both interior and they're on the same side of the line. These are the ones that are a little bit different. A plus B equals 180. And so then I'm going to go ahead and do 120 plus 11x plus 5 equals 180. When I go ahead and solve, I have to start off by combining like terms. So I'll combine the 120 and the 5. That will give me 125 plus 11x equals 180. And then I will subtract 125 on both sides. I then get 11x is equal to 55. And when I divide both sides by 11, I then get x equals 5. Last problem, I'm going to go ahead and I know that these are alternate interior angles because they are on opposite sides of the transversal, both inside. That means that they're congruent. So 92 equals x plus 99. I can subtract 99 on both sides. So I get -7 equals x, and that is my answer for this problem. For these problems, I still need to figure out what the angle relationship is. But then, once I have done that, then I need to solve the equation, and I'll set it up the same, but there will be a little bit more work involved with solving for x. So this has one inside, one outside, so that means that these are corresponding angles. I know that corresponding angles are congruent, so I'm going to take my two angle measures and set them equal. So 10x equals 11x minus 7. Then I will go ahead and solve. So I'll subtract 11x on both sides, and I will get -x equals -7. Divide both sides by -1, because remember we are not allowed to have a negative x as part of our final answer. And so the value of x is 7. But it's specifically asking for me to find the measure of the angle indicated in bold. So that means that I'll take that 7 and I'll plug it back in for this angle here. So that will mean I have 10 times 7, and that angle is then going to be 70 degrees. So sometimes you'll be asked to find x, and sometimes you'll be asked to find the measure of a particular angle. For the next problem, both of these are inside, so these are consecutive interior angles because they're on the same side of the line. And this is my relationship that is supplementary, so I want to make sure that I set them equal to 180. So I'm going to do x plus 55 plus x plus 135 equals 180. I need to start off by combining like terms, so I'm going to combine my x's, and then I will also combine my constants, my numbers without a variable. So that x is really a 1x for each of those. So 1 plus 1 is 2. And 55 plus 135 is 190 equals 180. And I can go ahead and subtract. And I get 2x equals -10. When I divide by 2, x equals -5. I'm asked to find the bold angle, so I'll go ahead and plug that -5 in. So that's going to be -5 plus 55, and that equals 50 degrees. And that is my final answer.